Well, hello there. Hello there, everyone. Hi. Tell them hi, Hunter.
Hi, everyone.
You're currently tuning in to Southeast Iowa Union's Prep Sports Plus with extra plus. Oops. I took the salt. We only have one high school game to get to today. We took the, with the salt shaker with all the plus in it. Some brat kid unscrewed the top. We tried to pour some plus in this episode. It's going to spill all over everywhere. So stay tuned for that. Hunter, is there a place around here that makes this show possible?
I mean, I can think of a couple places, but one place that I think is we talk about every week specifically. I think that place is Fairway Food Stores.
I think it is. I think it's our title sponsor, Fairway Food Stores.
I think so.
They just keep going. Bonus about Fairway Food Stores this time of year is it's warmer in there, as long as you're out in the refrigerated section.
I know.
You know that feeling when you go from your warm car, you'd walk through the parking lot, and then you walk into a warm Fairway Food Stores? Even for glasses guys like us.
When they got the warmers blowing, and you're just freezing out. It's been snowing. It's like 10 degrees outside with the wind chill, and then you walk in, and you just get hit with a gust of just warm air.
Yes.
And then you got your winter coat on, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm sweating. I'm hot.
Yeah.
And then you get cold in the store, kind of, and then you walk back outside, and then you're cold again.
That's right. It's a great feeling. Your glasses get all fogged up, and you're in fairway, and then you take them off, and you wipe them, and then you do this. And then it's kind of like when the kids finally get to the North Pole in Polar Express, where everything just lights up. You see fairway.
Yeah. Can't hear the bells.
Can hear the bells. I'm excited. I don't know if they're currently sponsoring, but speaking of that, definitely taking my kids to the North Pole at they're a sponsor of ours normally. I don't know if they've changed the sponsorship on this, but Old Threshers Grounds will have Polar Express when you go to meet Santa and all that stuff. Great times. Could ride the Polar Express. We'll do that this year.
I know. You go drive through the lights. Cool place.
I have to send you. There's a picture of me the couple of years ago. I went to that Polar Express thing. I had my New York, New Jersey Hitman hat on, and my hair was way long like this, and I was unshaven. And because of the coat I was wearing, it looked like I was 48 years old. Just only 13 years older than I am now. Anyway, we're going to talk a little high school football. Had a hair in my mouth. A little high school football, just a little bit though, because there's only one game, Hunter. Yours truly was there. Prairie City Monroe High School. Have you ever been to PCM, Hunter?
Nope.
It's down the road a little bit, but it's right on the road. So much to where you see the cars going by the highway, it's right there. And so even though it's
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I sent you a picture. Yeah. I was talking to one of the higher ups, one of the big wigs at PCM midway through the game. He's like, "You like our field?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he basically was like, "This is just because you won the state champion." He's like, "If you win the state championship, this is what happens because it didn't look anything like this before this." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Oh my god! Do they get a lot of money or something for winning the state title, school or something?
I think people just donate more. Well, maybe ask New London.
I mean, they got nice. They got all new. I mean, but that was before I think they won though. I think that
was right at the time. I don't remember.
It all worked out.
But the money was there. I actually was watching the New London State games yesterday. Getting myself ready for
the semifinal game was probably one of the best Iowa high school football games ever played.
Sure was. I was watching Fremont Mills. Wonder where that guy, the quarterback that came back and helped Fremont Mills tie it. Nobody knows what we're talking about unless you watch this game, but it was a classic. Trust us. I was there on the grounds, but unfortunately, Hunter, our now 2-year streak of going to the Dome has come to an end.
Yep.
the Union area had its last football team get knocked out. Mid-Prairie at PCM. Now, the final score in this is 41-0, but much like a couple other games we talked about last week when Pekin and Waco lost by a good amount, another one that was close throughout the game, and then at the end of the game, it just went crazy. PCM scored the first 2 touchdowns. PCM's got a great running game. This Adrian Robbins kid, he's so quick. He had just under 2,000 runs, rushing yards coming in. I don't know. Let's see if he got 2,000. I think he was like 200 away. And I don't think that Mid-Prairie actually let him get to the 2,000 mark. But either way, he and their quarterback, Gavin Van Gorp, were running the ball really well. They scored a couple touchdowns early. So it was 14-0. But then after it hit 14-0 in the there in the early second quarter, I believe. Let me pull out my notes to make sure that was correct. Yeah, in the second quarter, it hit 14-0 PCM. From then until the fourth quarter, Mid-Prairie's defense played really, really well against the run. In fact, it got to the point where it looked like they had stopped them enough, and they kept getting shots over and over and over. Mid-Prairie did. They almost scored right at the end of the second quarter. They got inside the 10-yard line. Less than 2 minutes left in the second quarter. And they had a 4th and goal from the 7, incomplete pass kind of through the back of the end zone, which gave PCM the ball back. But then in the third quarter, Mid-Prairie had another couple of shots where they were driving with a chance to cut it in half. And, even a couple of defensive stops where the sideline was really getting ramped up. They just couldn't get it past the PCM defense. And what ends up happening is in the fourth quarter, Van Gorp scores on a touchdown run, a 6-yard touchdown with 10 minutes left. That made it 21-0, and that just made the dominoes start to fall. Mid-Prairie had to start launching the ball downfield a little bit instead of moving the ball in bunches like they had been. PCM scored a whopping 27 points in the fourth quarter. Boom, 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 boom. So you blinked and it was 41-0. That included a pick six, a couple, times when they got the ball with a short field because of what Mid-Prairie had to do. So tough final score. PCM onto the dome. Mid-Prairie ends the season 7-4. A couple stats here. Brady Weber went 23 for 31, throwing the ball 141 yards. Hudson Ehrenvelt, 50 yards rushing, 19 receiving. Ace Peck with 4 catches for 32 yards. Caden Koss had a couple catches. He also had 15 tackles and 2.5 tackles for loss. So, and you know what? There are a couple other things I should talk about. Not only did Mid-Prairie had opportunities offensively, defensively, there were 2 different times when there was like a long fumble. By the way, you'll notice that my nose is a little stuffy. I've been sick. The second touchdown that Mid-Prairie scored, they actually screwed up on the snap and went like 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and their quarterback dove on it. Otherwise, that would have been a turnover. They wouldn't have scored right then. It would have been 7-0. And then in the second quarter, Mid-Prairie actually snapped over the punter's head, rolled about 15 yards behind him. He scooped that up at like the 15-yard line, but the blocking for PCM was so good that Mid-Prairie didn't get to block it. And so the kid was able to pick it up. He kind of shanked the punt, but that was the difference between having the ball at like the, I think Mid-Prairie got it at like the 45, their own 45, and they would have got it at PCM's 15. So there were a lot of little times where it was like, oh, and just nothing ever fell right for Mid-Prairie. And then that allowed PCM to put it on them there in the fourth quarter. So tough one.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's, for Mid-Prairie, it was, I didn't see the game, but just from what you were saying, you said that they had it's pretty big kids and stuff. And yeah, I felt like, Mid-Prairie has been pretty good defensively all year long. And it was just that the big difference was they just couldn't get points on the board. Like you said, they had a great opportunity, which could have changed it. But holding a team that's, number 2 in the state to 14 points through 3 quarters is pretty impressive. And obviously the defense probably, you were there obviously, but the defense probably just broke down by that time in the fourth quarter. And
yeah,
that what you kind of saw happen. But
If the goal was to just lose 14-0, they probably would have lost 14-0 because if they didn't have to go for it on fourth down and abandon their offensive strategy, which is at least moving the ball a little bit, they just started giving PCM some short field. Coach Darren Lambert for Mid-Prairie, who now turns his sights towards basketball season, he said, he's like, some of our kids were lining up from across from guys that were like 100 pounds heavier than them, which is true. PCM, very big. PCM's got a great setup. They do not do a complicated offense, but they got a really big offensive line, great running back. Their quarterback runs the ball really well. Their quarterback's more of a power runner than their running back is, actually. And so it's I don't know. I'm really excited to see what they do against teams at the state semifinals, and I can tell you they're playing against I believe the third ranked Spirit Lake team. That's a 10 a.m. game on Saturday. A lot of the top seeds. Actually, you had a story, I believe, on the how many or on the matchups. A lot of the higher ranked teams made it this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good, definitely a pretty good field for that, for Class 2A, because I think there's like a lot of good teams. I mean, every team's good, but it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out, especially because, a couple of years ago we saw, those same two guys, like running back with Robbins there, and then the quarterback's the same, but we saw Sigourney Keota kind of beat up on them a little bit a couple of years ago. It's kind of crazy how far they've even come. Like, they weren't even ranked last season, but I know the Robbins was still, I think, the top runner in the state last year, statistic wise, and obviously, he's either at the top again or pretty close to the top, I think, looking last week. But yeah, it's hard to beat a team that's, I guess you've got two athletes like that, and obviously an all around well-oiled machine as a team too. So
yeah, they are. They'll play. So they play at 10 a.m. against PCM. I believe that's the number 2 and 3 teams. And then West Lyon against Van Meter, I believe, is West Lyon number 1 and Van Meter's like 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Van Meter used to be number 1. Like, all these teams have been.
Like Van Meter, I think they're back-to-back state champions, I think. Van Meter.
Yeah. They're
only ranked like, I think they're only
have
like
one loss.
And it's kind of, it's all deceiving too, because when I was doing that story on like the state teams and stuff, a lot of them were like, like Van Meter played a team that's at state, like in a class higher, like to a one score, things like that. So there was a lot of that going on. So it's like, even though they're ranked like number 3, it's like, well, they lost to like the number 2 team in the class 3A or whatever, that, barely.
Exactly.
So actually, I have the dome matchups. Like, I can take a look at class 2 if you wanted to talk about it quick. But
why don't we do let's go, because we have a little space today. Why don't we go to our first commercials? We come back. We'll do a little deep dive into the dome matchups. See if you guys want to pay the $150 million for the Iowa High School Sports Network stream or not. So we'll be back right after this.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
The Connie and Amanda team is dedicated to giving back to our community by actively engaging with our clients, businesses, and the public. When it comes to helping you find your next home, investment, or commercial space, the Connie and Amanda team is here for you.
Washington County Hospital and Clinics, providing quality health care that puts you first. Whether during a hospital stay, seeing a primary care provider for wellness exams or sick visits, minor surgery to a total joint replacement, or recovering from an injury, we're here when you need us.
More than you expect for your health care. Washington County Hospital and Clinics.
Hello, everyone. We are back, Southeast Iowa Union Sports Prep Sports Plus. We're going to look at the state. Kansas number 1, right, Hunter?
Yep.
Grady Dick scored like 100 points last night, all on the free throw line. I know
like
that
that
because I had money on his teammate, Davion Mitchell, to do well. And I was just like watching the game cast, and I kept going, oh, dang it, him again. Picked the wrong guy. We're going to look a little dome playoff matchups. And you know what? We don't have any teams that we cover this. So we could even make state championship picks based on whatever knowledge we have.
Let's do it.
All right. So Hunter, should we start it? Oh, go ahead.
5A? You want to start 5A, or do you want to?
Start at 5A. You give the breakdown because
5A is by far, in my opinion, the hardest to pick because 5A teams just beat up on each other all year long. It seems like, and it's I don't know. It's like every game is always close. It seems like, but yeah, let's start. So
you give the breakdown, then I'll make my pick, then you make your pick.
Okay. So all right. So starting with 5A, we've got top seeded Iowa City Liberty, pretty much the only team, actually. The only team that's close to us, 10-1, taking on Southeast Polk, who's 7-4. The Lightning haven't lost since week 3, and they come off a quarterfinal victory over Ankeny, which I believe that was. I think it might be another school, but I think that might have been their only loss. I didn't put that aspect in here. I can't remember who they lost to. They might have lost to Pleasant Valley. So Southeast Polk is the only team across all classes that has more than 2 wins. So that's kind of interesting. They absolutely dominated Iowa City West in their a quarterfinal matchup to get there. And this is what I mean about 5A. Southeast Polk, obviously they've kind of been a perennial powerhouse in Class 5A for a while. Obviously they had that one season that when we went to watch Waco, they had Abu Sama, who's at Iowa State now, and the Caden Proctor's at Alabama. Their team was just absolutely loaded, and their quarterback went to Iowa State as well. So, I think I was telling you before, it always seems like when Iowa City schools or more Eastern Iowa, like Cedar Rapids around those areas, play the Des Moines schools, it's always a battle regardless of what the record looks like. But and then on the bottom side of the bracket, 2 more outstanding 5A teams. You got number 2 seeded Dowling Catholic 10-1 taking on number 3 seed Valley, and obviously Dowling Catholic Southeast Polk played close during the season. Valley played both of them close as well. The Maroons' only loss on the season came against Ankeny, and Ankeny also handed Valley one of its 2 losses. So, it's kind of going to be. I think it's going to be kind of a close game because the Lightning, Iowa City Liberty beat Ankeny 21-13 to get there, and then I forgot to mention the Southeast Polk also beat Pleasant Valley 24-21 to get to the Dome, and then that was a 42-15 win over Iowa City West. So take it for what you will, but I think it's going to be a close one. Dowling beat Ankeny Centennial 14-10, and then the Valley down Johnston 38-35. So it's kind of interesting with Southeast Polk, kind of the only team that had a dominant win in the quarterfinal to get there, and they have the worst record. So I mean, this is tough to pick from my perspective. But what do you?
Southeast Polk actually has the same amount of losses as the rest of the teams combined.
Yeah. And if you look at it, you have to look it up. I mean, I don't have it pulled up right now. I don't know if you have it pulled up, but I'm pretty sure Southeast Polk versus Dowling was like a 3-point game, and then I think they played Valley really close too. So I mean, Southeast Polk very very well win the state title with a 7-4 record.
Yeah, and then Dowling and Valley. I mean, that's the rivalry of Iowa happening. State semifinals. That'll be really cool. That'll be friggin' packed.
Yeah.
If there's a game to go to, it's probably that one. 4:00 on the 15th. By the way, before we get into our picks for 5A, let me just say, for the haters out there, we cut this on Wednesday morning. So obviously the Class 8 player games are going on Wednesday. So by the time you guys watch it, we'll have results in the 8-player games. We didn't cheat.
Yep.
But Peter, if you're good enough at AI, when we get to the 8-man, just change my little mouth and voice to say whatever actually happens. I'm going to give you my pick. I'm going to pick Southeast Polk over Dowling Catholic. I think they are going to win the championship with 4 losses.
Oh,
Put it down. My pick for 5A is Southeast Polk over Dowling Catholic.
This is tough. This is very tough. I'm gonna say Dowling Catholic
Over?
over Southeast Polk.
Oh, you have the same finals. I'm putting these all in I'm emailing these to you so we can track these.
I do it.
All right.
Okay,
so
jumping over to Class 4A, we've got
4A now.
undefeated. A lot of Des Moines area schools or around Des Moines area teams in the playoffs. So it's never really a shocker. But in Class 4A, we got undefeated, top ranked North Polk 11-0, yet to lose, taking on number 4 North Scott, who's 9-2. North Polk has had a pretty dominant campaign thus far. They defeated Fort Dodge 36-6, and then Xavier 35-14 on its way to the semifinals. In the bottom half of the bracket, a school a little closer to us. Number 2, Pella Christian, 10-1, takes on the school that's probably the farthest from us. Number 3, Lewis Central, 10-1. On the other side of the bracket, both the Dutch and Titans losses came in the final weeks of the regular season. However, they still find themselves in the Dome. Pella avenged its regular season loss to Gilbert with a quarterfinal victory, 19-14, and then Lewis Central down to ADM 32-25 to get to the Dome. So I'd say North Polk's probably the favorite here. But
I was going to correct you because you called it Pella Christian the first time, and then you said
Pella, my bad, just Pella, yeah.
So then that's why I put my hand down. Yeah, Pella and Lewis Central. So I'm going to pick North. So according to my final rankings, these are all North Polk and North Scott were neck and neck, 4 and 5. I'm going to go with Lewis Central over North Polk.
See, Lewis Central is one of those teams
that's going to be really close.
Lewis Central is always one of those teams that like you never hear about really because they're so far over west. I don't know. North Polk, not Lewis. It's tough. I'm gonna say North Polk over Lewis Central.
Ooh, we're doing the same thing, right? I hope that those are both at least the matchups, so we can really have.
I know.
There we go.
Jumping into Class 3A.
3A.
In Class 3A, we've got number 1 Humboldt 10-1 taking on number 4 Mount Vernon. So Humboldt took care of Solon 35-3 to get to the semifinals, and Mount Vernon hangs on against Algona 31-28. Fun fact: Humboldt's lone loss came against North Polk, while Mount Vernon's lone loss was that 1-point loss to Solon. And then on the other side of the bracket, number 2 Sergeant Lutton 11-0 taking on number 3 Wahlert Catholic, and those two obviously have yet to taste defeat. Wahlert enters off a 24-7 over Independence, while Sergeant Lutton beats Nevada 53-21.
I have a vendetta against Humboldt and Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon just because they killed our teams this year.
I can tell you who I think this is going to be.
Oh, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think it's going to be Humboldt, Wahlert Catholic, and I think Wahlert Catholic wins.
Ooh, Dubuque Wahlert over Humboldt. All right, 3A. You got Wahlert over Humboldt. My vendetta against Humboldt was when I was just a little sophomore in high school, standing on the sidelines. We were 1 game away from going to the Dome. Sheraton High School got beat by Humboldt, and then they won the state championship. I am going to pick. You know what? I hate to do this because of the vendetta, but I think I'm going to go. Well, we're going to stay on the same energy here because I'm going to go Humboldt over Wahlert.
Ooh.
Humboldt over Wahlert. The fact that their only losses to a 4A school that's at state makes me think, I don't know, something about those uniforms Maybe it's because I just watched some highlights from their state championship the other day when they had like 3 Hawkeyes on their team. But what team? Wildcats. 2A, Hunter.
Yep, Class 2A. We've got number 1 West Lyon 11-0 taking on number 4 Van Meter 10-1. West Lyon comes in off a win over Kemper Catholic 49-14. Added a little more facts, and when it got a little more interesting about how much they've won by, added that in. But the Wildcats' closest game of the season was a 13-point win. Van Meter hasn't lost since week 3 when they fell to top seeded 3A Humboldt 28-21. The Bulldogs defeated Anamosa 31-0 to advance. So on the I like adding that in because it's kind of interesting to look at. Because I mean, Van Meter played Humboldt, who's the top seed in 3A, that close, and then obviously, West Lyon hasn't. I mean, that's I guess the 2-score game technically, but so I mean, it's still kind of impressive. But and then on the other side.
Yeah,
you've seen, you're familiar with from last week is number 2 PCM taking on number 3 Spirit Lake. PCM has yet to lose and has given up just 19 points at most in a game all season long. The Mustangs' closest game was a 23-point win. Spirit Lake, meanwhile, has not lost since week 1 when they fell to Algona 42-40. And I kind of looking at that, the Algona loss, obviously 42-40. We know Algona played some of those 5A, 4A teams pretty close. So, I mean, if Spirit Lake kind of slept on a little bit, basing it off that score, who knows? We'll see.
Yes, we will. We will see. And I'm looking at my final rankings to see where I had everyone. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. This might be the toughest one.
There's a lot of looking at history, like through the season. I mean,
who'd Spirit Lake beat to get here? To get to the dome? Did you say?
I didn't even put that in.
Oh, my bad.
Wait. Yeah, I didn't even put that in here. I could try to look it up.
You know what?
Did you look it up?
I'll look it up. Spirit Lake to be because
yeah, it's tough.
Spirit Lake to get here beat North Fayette Valley 42-13. Osage. You know what? I'm going with the top seeded. No, I'm going Van Meter over PCM.
Same here. Van
Meter over PCM. They were the teams that I thought were going to be at the top of 2A at the beginning of the year. West Lyon versus Van Meter is going to be such a good game.
I
think it's tough. It's tough. PCM was a super fun team to watch, but Mid-Prairie did stop that running game pretty good. We're both going Van Meter over PCM. All right, 1A.
Yep. In Class 1A, we've got number 1 Grundy Center. Obviously, I feel like they've been the number 1 team. I think in the class for like the past 4 years. Well, they were in Class A, and then I think they went up to 1A now. But so Grundy Center 11-0 taking on Wilton 10-1. The top seeded Spartans have not lost, and their closest game was in week 1, and that was a 21-7 victory over Dyke New Hartford, who was also, I think, Dyke New Hartford's at the bottom of this bracket, actually. Wilton has played some close games throughout the season, but they defeated Regina Catholic 21-14. Then, as I mentioned, Dyke New Hartford 10-1 taking on Hinton 10-1. Dyke New Hartford's lone loss was the one to Grundy Center, as I mentioned. And then from then on, the Wolverines' closest game was 17 points. Hinton enters after defeating Underwood 37-15. I can tell you how I think this will shake out. I think Grundy Center takes the title with another win over Dyke New Hartford.
I completely 100% agree with that. Grundy Center over Dyke New Hartford. And you know what? I'll be cheering for Dyke New Hartford. No, I won't, because Dyke New Hartford beat SK a couple of years ago. I was going to say I'll be cheering against Grundy Center because they did beat Columbus, I think 2 years ago in the playoffs. But Dyke New Hartford is also knocked out Sigourney Kyoto. So these are teams some of our teams have seen. So we're both going Grundy Center over DNH.
Yep.
Grundy Center over DNH. All right, what about Class A?
Yep, another familiar state team in Class A. number 1 West Hancock 11-0 taking on number 4 Madrid, who beat Pekin and then went on and beat Lisbon pretty handedly.
Yes, they did.
To get to state, but West Hancock survived MMCRU 28-21 in the second round and then defeated Woodbury Central 45-15 in the quarterfinals. Interesting how that kind of played out with them playing a real close one first round and then pretty dominant there to get to state. But Madrid comes off a huge win over Lisbon, who's a top 5 team in Class A, 27-14. Wait, did I even? I didn't even put. I don't even think I put
what are you looking for?
The bottom of that bracket in that story.
What are you looking for?
I said I don't even think I didn't even put who was in the bottom of the bracket in the story.
Oh, in Class A?
That's not good.
Oh, I'll get you. You can fix that for the online. I'll get you. It's St. Angzar and Tri-Center, both 10-1. I don't know what they ended up, but I can tell you in my rankings, I had them at 4 and 6. St. Ansgar 4, Tri-Center 6. That might have got flipped around a little bit. Actually, that even might be actually here in the last rankings. I actually had 4 and 6 still. This is tough for me, Hunter, because you talked about West Hancock having some close games. The fact that Madrid, I mean, we said like, oh, Lisbon and Pekin are going to go against each other because they look so good all year. The fact that Madrid beat both of them, their losses are to Woodward Granger and Earlham. That's tough. I'm going to say, you know what?
And St. Ansgar beat Makogata Valley pretty handedly too, which is interesting.
Sure did. I'm going to say it's going to be St. Angzar winning the state championship over West Hancock.
Ooh.
What do you got? This is just like 2A. This is actually a really hard one.
I think St. Ansgar wins as well. Actually, no, I think St. Ansgar wins as well.
Who you got him over?
I'm going to say this is tough.
It is tough, isn't it?
I think it's still West Hancock, but
West Hancock. But by the way, the fact that we're having this conversation is making me. I'm definitely going to buy the tournament pass now.
Because you want to know.
However much money they're charge. It's actually like $20. All right, Class 8 player. We're a little familiar with these teams.
Yep, pretty much every team in here. I mean, it's basically the same. In the past 2 years, it's basically the same 3 teams, but take out our school, basically.
Yes.
we got top seeded Lennox 11-0 taking on number 4 Gladbrook Rhinebeck, who's 10-1. Lennox defeated Montezuma 62-20 and Gladbrook Rhinebeck down Don Bosco in double OT 34-33 to advance. And then on the bottom of the bracket, number 2 Bishop Garrigan, defending state champ 11-0, taking on undefeated as well Remsen St. Mary's. So in the battle of unbeatens, Bishop Garrigan comes in off a 51-36 win over Edgewood Colesburg. And then Remsen St. Mary's down to Audubon 61-20. This one here is another toss-up, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because a player gets a little hairy. Of like,
it does.
This
is the one that we have so much experience in watching. We have to get this one right.
You think? Everyone's talking about. I've heard more about Gladbrook Rhinebeck, but I've also. Bishop Garrigan came out of nowhere and won the state title last year, which is interesting. But I feel like I've seen more people talk about Rhinebeck and Remsen St. Mary's more than anything. But Lennox, I don't know. I feel like they've been there and they've came up short. So I'm gonna go. Dude, the first game, Lennox Gladbrook Rhinebeck game is that one's. I'm locking it in. I'm gonna go Lennox taking on Remsen St. Mary's, and Remsen St. Mary's wins the title.
Hunter is going Remsen St. Mary's versus Lennox. I can't have that. Just got a call from a coworker on my Zoom, so it's like it popped up on my screen. So Hunter has Remsen St. Mary's over Lennox. I also have Remsen St. Mary's playing against Lennox, but in honor of the big Jake Paul fight against Mike Tyson, I can't not pick Lennox. Shout out Lennox Lewis. I think they're going to have the big punches. It looks like they have a really good defense. I'm going to go Lennox over Remsen St. Mary's, and we'll like that because I feel like our teams have taken more heartbreak at the hands of Remsen St. Mary's and Bishop Garrigan than anybody else.
Yep, I agree.
Lennox. Go get him, Mr. Lewis. So there you go. Should I tweet out these picks?
You can.
I'll tweet them out. Send them to you. I'll tweet them out. Peter, if you want to get in on this, just email me your picks in the next 20 minutes. I'll give you 20 minutes. But you don't have to. All right, that's it. We're going to go to commercial. Then when we come back, we're going to do our complaints, and then we're going to get out of here.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At First Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you with a flexible financing you need to install that all-season room or remodel your kitchen with a home equity line of credit. Connect with First today and see why together is better.
Celebrate the season at the Mount Pleasant Festival of Lights. With over 180 dazzling light displays, it's the perfect holiday tradition for families, friends, and loved ones. Experience the magic from the comfort of your car, and on select nights, bring the kids to meet Santa himself. Don't miss this enchanting event that brings holiday spirit to life. For directions, dates, times, and ticket info, head to oldthreshers.com. The Mount Pleasant Festival of Lights, where holiday magic comes to life.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Southeast Iowa Union Sports Prep Sports Plus C Block, and we're going to do a couple of complaints. I think we both have a couple complaints. Hunter, by the way, this is still powered. Even these complaints are powered by Fairway, so don't you sweat it. Hunter, do you have any complaints to get off your chest? I can start if you'd like.
Yeah, start.
I've got two big ones. One, I was sick this weekend when I was finishing up our magazines and tabs, which was super annoying. And two, complaint number two, let me pull up the stat here. Let me just pull up the stat here. This is the one that's been triggering me since this morning when I saw it. Now let's just talk some ball here. I got a stat. I got a stat for you, Hunter. This is an NFL stat. Let me just click on this. So I want to get the numbers completely correct. My internet's not wanting me to click on it. Here we go. Saw this on X, the everything app. Free ad just in case, just in case X wants to throw some money our way. Caleb Williams, quarterback of the Chicago Bears, Hunter, has the worst completion percentage on throws of 15-plus yards by any quarterback in any season over the past 15 years. And that's not rookie quarterbacks. That's any quarterback. He is 468th out of 468.
Wow. Yeah, you know how that affects me?
You have DeAndre
He needs to
Swift.
stop throwing downfield and start doing checkdowns to wide open DeAndre Swift in the flat every time.
Affects me too in multiple ways because I also have him on fantasy like you do. But it's horrible.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Jaden
actually have
Daniels is looking like the unsung hero in Washington.
Wait, I have a bonus complaint. I have a bonus complaint from the office. I think I'm overhearing that somebody's order was messed up at one of the fast food restaurants.
Oh, no.
Yep.
You know what I have a complaint with, too, in fantasy?
Go ahead.
T. Higgins' hamstring.
Yeah. That's tough. You know what? I was sick. Can I just say something, Hunter? I was sick last week. No, I was sick this weekend. I was sick just yesterday. I had a temperature. Am I taking this week off of Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus?
No, sir.
When you're sick, do you take a week off of Prep Sports Plus?
Never.
We get back out there like men. We do this show. So when you got a little hamstring, T. Higgins, get out there for our main Hunter. He needs you.
Yep.
He
needs me bad, or I need him bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully DK Metcalf plays this week. I mean, I'm cool with rocking with DeAndre Hopkins. I just need one other receiver to come back.
He's really good. Yeah. I'm actually down to 3 total receivers in one of my teams. Total. That's including the bench player. So it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough out there for an Andy and a Hunter.
Yep.
But we still come back and we do this. We make our picks. I'm going to tweet out our picks. And by the way, Hunter, breaking news. I didn't realize this. One of the games has started. Bishop Garrigan, Remsen St. Mary's in our time right now has just started. So We're going to find out the results quick.
I'm excited to see.
Me too. All right. Dual stretch. Go Hawkeyes tonight. I know there's a game because my kid's babysitter's going to it. Probably a women's game because the men dominated last night.
By the way, shout out Caitlin Clark in that pro golf debut today.
Shout out Caitlin Clark, our hero. Shout out to everyone. Go watch the guy.
Heard she shanked her first tee right into the crowd, but that's okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she took a mulligan first shot.
That's tough. I'm glad there's mulligans.
People are like, wow, Caitlin Clark's really one of us.
That's okay, because didn't our man Zach Johnson do that at the Masters? Didn't he he grounded one 2 feet ahead of him, but then he could take another shot because of whatever reason. Anyway,
yep.
I'll tell you a story. Last time I was golfing this summer in Minnesota, and I was hitting the ball very, very short, and I was on a long par 3, and behind that par 3 was a parking lot. So I went driver because I was like, I can't even hit my driver today. It's just going to land right on the green for this long par 3. And it was my best drive of the night. Hit it right into the parking lot. The day. That's it for Prep Sports Plus.
Yeah.
Go follow our picks. And
see how good we did.
See how good or bad we did. We'll see who wins. And real high energy from Sick Boy over here. Go
You
to
sound a lot
Fairway.
better than when I talked to you on Monday.
Yeah. Peeking into the curtain, Hunter called me, had no idea I was sick. I said, "What's up, Hunter?" I even tried to put my most healthy voice on. And he's like, "You're sick, aren't you?" So to you, it probably sounded like, "What's up, Hunter?" But I thought I was doing a good job of hiding the fact I was sick. All right. I gotta go do some work.
We'll see you next week.